worth upgrading from the Apple Watch Series 3 to the Series 4? Or even we can go back to the S0, Series 1, or Series 2 and say, is it worth upgrading to the Series 4? So my first thought is, so if you have a Series 0, 1, or 2, I think it's definitely 100% worth the upgrade just for the fact that you can have LTE, assuming LTE is a feature you need. I thought it was a definite upgrade from the Series 2 to the Series 3 just because of LTE. Now, is it worth upgrading to the Series 4? So I did upgrade from the Series 3 to the Series 4, and I'll talk about some of the differences, some of the things that I've noticed, and is it worth the upgrade? Now, obviously, I'm able to upgrade through work because I do research on these devices. So, would I have paid? Would I pay the $400 or $500 for the Series 4 if I owned the Series 3? So let's talk about some of the differences. So first of all, they both have LTE. So there are some things that are the same. They both function exactly the same. You can do workouts with them. They both track your steps and use all the apps. So, those kind of things aren't really a difference. In fact, like the new apps that were given to you, like Walkie Talkie, are all on the new watch update. So there's really not much of a difference there as far as like apps or features or things they do. But there are a few small things. So first of all, let's talk about some of those. So the new Apple Watch is slightly thinner. It has a slightly larger screen. And it does include some new watch faces. So let me talk about that. As soon as I upgraded to the Series 4, I did notice the screen was, I could tell on my wrist the screen was slightly larger as I was using it. I say I'm still getting used to it because on the Series 3, when you would look at a website like get your email or your texts or whatever whatever app you were looking at the time, it's a square on the screen. With the Series 4, it's actually the corners are rounded. I'm not quite sure I like it better. I would just say it's different. I do appreciate the new space on it, but I wouldn't say it's a huge difference for me. Definitely not worth paying money for difference. It is nicer though. As far as the new watch faces, it does have several new watch faces, and I do prefer them. I like that I can have a bunch of complications on my watch. They are nice, but I also still think that like the original Siri, the Siri app face, and a few others are still really good. So, I think the new watch faces are nice. I wish they would compress them down for the Series 3, but I understand they can't do that for various reasons. And maybe that's just a reason for them to get people to want to upgrade. I'm not really sure how that works out, but what's behind the engineer's mind there, because would it really be that much smaller with the new watch faces? But they decided not to do that. So you can only get those few new watch faces on the Series 4. And then we go to speed of the device. So is the Series 4 quicker? As far as it being faster, in day-to-day use, I don't notice a difference. I'm not noticing a difference at all in day-to-day use. Where I am noticing a difference in speed is when I have to upgrade the operating system much quicker. When I have to restart the device much quicker. So big tasks like that, it is a significant difference. The thing is, you don't do those tasks too often unless you are resetting yours every day. I don't reset mine ever. So this is really something that I is not a big deal. So on a day-to-day basis, I'm not really noticing a speed difference from the 3 to the 4. They both appear pretty quick. It's when I open up a text or an app or get something, it's not that much of a difference. And maybe the 4 feels a little snappier, but I thought the 3 was pretty quick itself. Is still, when I'm testing them side by side, I'm not really noticing a difference. It is louder when you're making phone calls. You can hear better, so the volume is better, but I don't really take calls on my watch ever. It's very rare. When I use the LTE, it's like when I'm working out, and that's for emergencies only. So I'm not like sitting there making calls on my watch anywhere. So that's not a feature that necessarily appeals to me. I'm not like playing music through the watch or doing anything like that. I'm not really using it, so it's not such a great feature for me. As far as working out, since I just talked about it, there are no differences there. There is a new heart rate monitor, which I'll talk about in a second, which is better is more accurate. GPS and heart rate are more accurate. They definitely appear to be better. because they upgraded the technology, especially for the heart rate sensor. Apple's changed their heart rate sensor from the 3 to the 4, which is a big deal, because the new heart rate sensor now has the ECG, EKG capability. So is it worth upgrading for the EKG capability? I'd say that probably 99% of the people using an Apple Watch, no, that feature is not worth it, because they're not going to go into AFib. They don't have AFib. And generally, a lot of people, even the people who do have AFib, the Apple Series 3 is detecting it because you have your normal resting heart rate will randomly be like all over the place and go up to like 120, 150, 160 for no reason at all. So the Apple 3 is telling you, hey, there's a heart rate problem. You're getting those heart rate notifications. So the Apple 3 already is able to somewhat detect if there is some anomaly going on. And additionally, if you're not feeling well and you're taking your pulse and you're feeling these weird beats, sometimes people can tell when they're in AFib. So who is it? It's really going to be for those few people who are going to go into AFib and not really have any symptoms of anything, but the watch is able to tell through that single EKG that you're actually in it. So is it worth it for that upgrade? It depends. If you're a person with a history of heart conditions, heart problems, I'd say if you're over 50 years old, those kinds of, you should know. I'd say it's definitely worth it in those kinds of situations for you. Otherwise, you're like a healthy 20, 30-year-old kid, 40-year-old even, teenager, you're good to go. I really wouldn't upgrade for just that feature. And that feature doesn't work in other countries, and I believe you have to be 22 years old for it to even work. So if you are younger and bought it and want to use that feature, lie about your age so you're able to get it on your watch. So overall, those are the big main things as far as apps and everything, and the phone or the watch really does the exact same thing. So is it worth the upgrade? I would say it's probably not worth the upgrade overall because it is so expensive. I think if you have the Series 3, your watch does nearly everything the 4 does, and it's still pretty fast, and it looks nice and has most of the watch faces. I really don't think it is worth the upgrade. If you're coming from the Series 2, hands down, definitely worth it. Me personally, I wouldn't upgrade from the 3 to the 4, for the $400 some that it is. I think the 3 is a good watch, still going to easily last another year or more. Maybe if I had the 3, I'd probably be looking at the Series 5 because there are some, the 2 to the 3 had LTE. The 3 to the 4, there's no big features that really stand out to me. If the watch had a camera on it, that might be a feature worth upgrading to, but it doesn't. So maybe some of those things will be upgraded in the new, Series 5 when that comes out. So be on the lookout for that kind of stuff. But for now, I'd say, overall, not really worth the upgrade, but definitely the 4 is a better watch. I always want the newer thing, so I do like it better, that's for sure. It's a little thinner, feels a little better on my wrist. That could just be a sizing thing for me, and I do appreciate, I'm glad it has the EKG feature, even though it's not really going to be useful for me at all. I like that it has a better heart rate monitor, really is what I care about. Thank you.